Hey, good morning. Welcome back to polkzoo channel and the Guitar Loader System. Hey, here's a really cool guitar. I work really hard. I don't think most people realize how hard I work to find stuff. It takes a long time for me to find things. I'm always sending out emails to, producers, recording studio owners, musicians, orchestra conductors, artists, different people I've been dealing with the last 30, 40 years. This recently came in. According to my research, only a couple of these, were made, maybe 2 or 3 in the world. I love the color. It's kind of like a dark cherry burst. This is a made in Japan, handcrafted guitar. It's all solid wood. Sounds unbelievable. It's got a 3-piece back, like a Martin D35. Love the headstock on this guitar. The headstock is just kind of a large headstock. It's really cool. I personally think a large headstock adds some extra tone. I don't want to explain the acoustic physics behind that right now. But yeah, this is an Epiphone made, probably in the early 80s. Could be late 70s, but I think it's more like early 80s. So it's old, It's probably over 40 years old. The wood can even be older. The setup on it is unbelievably really beautiful low setup. I'm not sure if you can see this, but this guitar just sounds unfucking real. The universe helped me find this, but I work hard looking for stuff, and sometimes I won't buy a guitar for months. It kind of comes in waves. In the last, I've bought I don't know, 4 or 5 guitars in the last couple of weeks, but this is made in Japan. And what's really cool, it came with a Gibson case. The case alone's probably worth, black Gibson case, probably worth $300-400. So, what's really cool too is there's a lot of saddle left. So somebody took really good care of this guitar. It's got a lot of saddle left, and it's got low action. Just unbelievable guitar. I'm not trying to do a performance here. I have it tuned in DADGAD because I love DADGAD. I know somebody's going to email me and say, oh, it just sounds good because it's DADGAD. Bullshit. It's a bitchin' guitar. It sounds great. I like to keep guitars that recently came to me a little lower anyway because I like them to adjust to the climate change, Not a performance. Listen to those overtones. Growl, baby, growl. Such a cool guitar. So I don't think this has been played much. PR 775, says handcrafted inside. Can you hear that growl? Overtones. That's the thing about the made in Japan guitars. The overtone series is, I like a great Martin D35, but a well-made in Japan guitar from the 70s or 80s has more overtone, growl, and bark in the total voice and tone. That's why the Ibanez guitar I have right now, which says Concord, but the Concord is a generalized term they use for a whole bunch of different kinds of guitars with different woods and different things. That Ibanez I have made in Japan with a 3-piece back is part of the series of guitars, and a very, very rare one. Not many of those were made either. But the 3-piece back gives these guitars a really nice mid-range, and then also, the Japanese know a lot of secrets. Japanese know a lot of secrets about making guitars. So again, not a performance. This guitar sounds more like an old Gibson than a lot of old Gibsons do, I tell you. And one of the things I want to mention too is, you know, I mean, we all like to get a great deal on stuff, but a lot of times I get the feeling that people think if you get a really low price on a guitar, maybe you find one at a pawn shop or whatever. Of course, most pawn shops I go to, they want a lot for stuff. But, you know, if you get lucky, maybe you live somewhere where they're not quite as worried about milking every buck out of it, you know. But sometimes it's really smart to pay up for something that's very high quality. It's only going to go up in value. You know, you can't if you always shop with your wallet, you're not going to always get the best value. So the question is getting the lowest price guitar always the best value? No, it's not. I mean, sure, again, we all like to get a deal once in a while. We all get lucky once in a while. But I've actually bought a lot of really great guitars. I pay a little more. My customers are usually really stoked just because the stuff that I find is the result of 40 years of doing this. I know what I'm looking for. But it's really, you know, sometimes you just got to pay a little bit more. But when it comes to guitars that are rare like this, like I said, I only found one other one, and from my research, it sounds like they only made maybe a couple of these, maybe 2 or 3 at the most, you know. But yeah, this guitar has a lot of vintage Gibson in the tone, and the Japanese have a lot of pride, and you know, they were trying to put themselves on the map, so. There's a lot of pride and a lot of secrets. The Japanese know a lot of secrets about making guitars. And I even learned from this one guy who was in the music business for a long time that the Japanese store wood under the ocean. And I mean, there's all kinds of things that the Japanese do to make a great instrument. But anyway. See, like I've sold many Martin D35s, and I love a good D35, but they don't have the overtone series of this guitar. They don't have the overtone series of like that Ibanez guitar I recently posted that's made in the 70s with a 3-piece back. I think the model says 677, but it's a very, very rare. They're not all the same. Most of those are different. You know, they have maple backs, or mahogany. They didn't define things as well back in the 70s and 80s, you know. So that's why, like, too, a lot of the reverb price guide things that come up when you look at a guitar are way off, because they don't realize that oftentimes companies back, especially back in the 70s and 80s, had one model number, but many different, that exact model number of the guitar had many different variations. They had limited runs, so it's really not very accurate at all. I think that reverb needs to maybe readjust that quite a bit, actually, you know. But anyway, I just thought I'd show this guitar. I just love the big headstock on this. It's so cool. And yeah, this is really, really a nice piece. This is really, I live to find stuff like this. Somebody took really good care of this, and like I said, there's plenty of saddle left, and it has really low action, really cozy. And it came with a Gibson case. It's just a hell of a box. See, this guitar's got that kind of round, almost round J45 quality, but it still has more overtones than most J45s, and it's got that overtone series. So anyway, just a short demo here, not trying to perform. Really cool. This is going to be a tough one to sell. Maybe I'll just keep it. I just put new strings on this yesterday, so it's still stretching out a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to keep this demo short because these are stretching out. But I live to find stuff like this, man. This is a hell of a box. I got to figure out if I can let this one go or not. Again, these are new strings, they're stretching out. It's got that grand piano. Man, listen, that one note says it all. That grand piano tone, man. Anyway, I'm gonna start. Just wanted to show this guitar. Talk about sweet. Oh my god. This guitar, like I said, it reminds me of maybe like a 50s old Gibson. But I actually think the Japanese did a better job in making guitars. I don't want to argue about it. But why? Because they're just really meticulous, man. And they have a lot of background in acoustic physics. Sound. Whoa. That sound just like jumps out, man. I know somebody's going to add. I saw another one online. I think they wanted about $2,000 for it. So I'm like at 22 on this right now with the case. But I honestly got to figure out if I can let it go. This is. I'm 70 years old. I'll be 71 in March. This is one of the nicest sounding guitars I've ever played, and it's just so beautiful, the color and everything. Just a gorgeous guitar. It's got a low action, and it's got tons of saddle left. I don't think anybody would want this any lower because it's already low. And what's really cool, it's got wood binding on the, on the neck next to the fretboard. That's like wood. Looks like, I don't know if you can see that, but that's like a wood binding. It's just gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous guitar. This is one of the most beautiful guitars I've ever seen anywhere, any show, anything. And I know I'm very enthusiastic about it, but hey, I work my ass off, guys and gals. I work my ass off to find great stuff, and I know what to look for. And I think the universe helps me because it knows how much love and passion I have for great instruments. So I've got the cherry picking thing to a pretty refined level, and sometimes I won't buy a guitar for months, but then it comes in spurts, But yeah, this guitar is just insane. So anyway, in the interest, stevezook7@yahoo.com, but I got to figure out if I can let this thing go or not. And that's not cute salesmanship. What I really feel, I don't know if I'm really real. Andy Dufresne, Tater Sprinkles. stevezook7@yahoo.com or polkzoo@gmail.com. That's stevezook7, the number not spelled out. All right, take care. Let's all keep the positive faith no matter what's going on. Believe in the unknown. Be positive. Trust the universe. Ciao.